I did not see a way forward if I was in pain every day and couldn't do my work, and if my husband couldn't do his work. We're just barely making it through the day because
Carrie, how did you find Carnivore?
um well, like a lot of your guests I've heard before, it was a long journey to get here. I've done keto before, I've done paleo, I've done vegetarian, I've done just regular standard diet. Um, and I finally decided to bite the bullet and do carnivore this year. Um, my husband and I, over the last, I don't know, 5 or 6 years or so, have definitely noticed a change in like more weight gain, more arthritis tendencies. I've had thyroid problems for about 25 years, and nothing has seemed to help. And we own our own business. We make games, and so it's a lot of physical work that we're doing. And our arthritis got so bad over this last Christmas that we were considering what else we could do so we wouldn't have to make the physical game boards because we just couldn't do it anymore. Um, so last year, I had considered doing the carnivore diet. I'm like, all right, let's try this. We've done keto before. This shouldn't be too bad. And after 3 days, I just couldn't do it anymore. I'm like, oh, I'm sick of meat. I'm sick of all this steak. It's gross. And so I stopped. And this year, I had gained 20 pounds on top of all the other weight I had gained before, and I couldn't feel my hands anymore. I had just my hands would fall asleep during the day and at night, and I paint, so that wasn't a good thing. Um, and my husband, like his elbows really hurt, and he was having a hard time with the saw and with the drill. So I decided, well, let's try no sugar. So I went off sugar for 2 weeks, like all sugars, no juice, no fruit, no sugars in anything that I ate. So I was eating a lot more meat and a ton of salads. And then I started listening to some more carnivore during that time, some carnivore podcasts like Sean Baker and your podcast and just some other people. It's like, well, let's try carnivore for 2 weeks. So my husband said he was on board, and in less than a week on carnivore, his elbow pain was gone. Um, my hands stopped falling asleep and going numb. And at the end of 2 weeks, I said, do you want to try it another 2 weeks? And he said, sure. And we're going on month 4 of being completely carnivore. Um, And I don't see us going back to another way of eating anytime soon. Um, I think, for the maybe in 6 months, I might change my mind, or maybe in a year, I might change my mind. But right now, like all the benefits that we have seen, my energy has increased. We're keeping up with our work and making extra game boards for our Christmas season. We're not going to have any problem with that. My husband's had sleep apnea for probably about 5 or 6 years and had trouble with snoring. Um, Within a week, that was gone. He was suffering from like a narcolepsy type of thing for about 6 or 8 months, where he would sit down and he would just fall asleep within 2 minutes. And it got to be so bad that I would have to drive everywhere because he would just fall asleep in the car. He hasn't done that at all uh, for the last 4 months. Um, my thyroid has been inflamed for about 20, 25 years, and I've been to endocrinologists and doctors and been on medication, tried different supplements, and nothing that I've done has helped. I've had sonograms, I've had all sorts of stuff, and everybody just tells me that it's inflamed, but there's nothing that can be done. I ask him, well, what can I do for this? Well, I don't know. Just take more levothyroxine or Synthroid or something, and none of it helped. Um, but this has helped the swelling go down by an inch so far. Uh, I'm hoping that maybe in a year all the swelling will be completely gone. Um, what are some other things? Just so many. Um, my hair is thicker, which is insane. Like, when you brush your hair, you're always losing like a lot of hair in the brush, but not anymore. Um, I'm finding it a lot easier to wake up in the morning. I just get up around 5:30 or 6, and same with my husband. No alarm is needed. We're done. We're we're ready to be up and get things done throughout the day. Um, I have energy to keep my house clean and do stuff with my kids. We've got 6 kids, 3 of which are at home, and we homeschool them. Uh, Plus, with our business at home, it gets pretty busy. And by the end of the day, we just didn't have enough energy to do anything with our kids, or we just fix like a macaroni and cheese dinner or whatever, and it was just really difficult. And my kids are eating more carnivore based. They still eat some fruits every once in a while, but I've noticed a difference in their energy levels. Their attention is better, and the fighting is practically stopped. Like, that has just amazed me, because there was just a lot of just bickering back and forth with my kids throughout the day. And they just don't do that anymore. It's
Under
pretty
the
fascinating.
carnivore calm, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's really neat. Yeah.
So what was different this time than the first time you tried it? Why were you able to stick to it this time?
I think what really helped was cutting out all the sugars for 2 weeks before, and also I was just sick and tired of being sick and tired. Did not see a way forward if I was in pain every day and couldn't do my work, and if my husband couldn't do his work, and we're just barely making it through the day because our energy is just not there. We were looking at, maybe we'll have to go get a job somewhere else and work for somebody else so we can have set hours and take sick leave when we needed it. But that's not something that we wanted to do. We've always dreamt of having our own business, and we were able to finally get it in place in 2017. And then he was able to quit his job in 2021. Um, and just to work so hard to get it to where this is something that is supporting us, and then to physically not be able to do it anymore was just so depressing. I was so upset about that. And, I'd always thought that, well, I can do keto, but since I'm a woman, I need more carbs. There's always been this like, well, women need more carbs, so, go ahead and eat the vegetables. You need fruit, you need the grains, but maybe not so much. And turns out you don't. you, you don't need those carbs at all. And I was very hesitant to try this again, because I thought, well, it's going to be really hard for 2 weeks without bread. I love bread. And after 2 weeks, I wasn't craving it anymore. I wasn't craving cookies or chocolate or fruit or anything. None of that has been a craving for me, which has been very surprising. Um, because I've always had those cravings, and it didn't matter what I was doing, if I was eating really clean and healthy or if I was eating just a bunch of salads and stuff. I walk by the cookies and I'm like, oh, those look good. I'll just have a couple. Yeah, it's I don't know, it's amazing. My husband and I talk about it all the time, like, how is this possible? We're not even trying. I've lost 22 pounds. He's lost over 40 pounds. I don't exercise. He doesn't exercise. I'll do yoga every once in a while, but I'm not going to the gym. I'm not running miles and miles. We'll go for a walk every once in a while, but I don't know. This my whole life I've been told it's going to be hard to lose weight. Not
Hmm.
at all.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's one of the things that we kind of just grow up believing.
Mhm.
Like everything worth achieving, you have to work hard. Like,
Yeah,
you've got your own business, right? I mean, you had to work hard to get that business, right?
yeah,
If you've got a job, you've got to work hard to move up the ranks in your job or whatever. So we kind of associate those kind of things with weight loss as well, right? If we want to lose
yes.
weight, we got to work hard. If we want to be healthy, we got to work hard, like be at the gym every day or something. And it doesn't really need to be that way, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's amazing. Because when I did keto before. I was trying to lose probably about 50 pounds. And I hit the wall after about 10 to 15 pounds and then nothing. Like I couldn't lose weight after that. And it didn't matter that I was taking exercise classes or going for walks every day and doing yoga. And it didn't matter how much I was cutting out of my diet, and restrictive calories and stuff like that. I would just hit that wall. And my husband always was able to lose weight really easily on stuff like that. And he had no problem getting back to where he wanted to be. But I would just get frustrated after several months. You're on it for 5 or 6 months and you're not going anywhere. So you just think, well, this isn't worth it. Those cookies look awful good. So, it's just been that for the last, I don't know, 6 or 7 years that we've been doing, and so I'd lose some weight and then get off, and then I'd gain that weight back plus a little bit more, and it's just frustrating. Um, and then just, like, not being able to get up from sitting on the floor unless you have something to lean on to, like a chair or something to help you with it, because everything hurts and everything's creaking, and you just think, I didn't wanna be this way in my 40s. How on earth am I this way in my 40s? I don't like it. And then you just think, well, maybe everybody's like this. And you don't have to be. And it's amazing. So,
And the thought of why am I like this in my 40s? That's
mhm.
usually followed by, and what is it going to be like when I'm in my 70s and 80s?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't want to have a walker or not be able to do things. We enjoy hiking and I don't want to just think of that as something's in the past. We loved hiking, but that's not something we can do anymore. I don't want that. So, yeah,
Yeah.
it's just amazing.
Something that strikes me about your story is, thinking of the energy that you've got. Like, um, you're homeschooling 3 kids and running a business and waking up at 5:30 in the morning. I mean, like, that takes some work, right? And Carnivore's helping you with that?
Yes. Yes, it is not a problem for me to get out of bed and get things done in the morning. Um and throughout the rest of the day. Like I'm not hungry till about lunchtime. So I'll get up and, if the kids are hungry, because sometimes they're just not hungry in the morning, I'll fix them some bacon and eggs for breakfast and we'll get started on some chores. We do our chores in the morning and then see what we're going to do for homeschool that day. And then I get them started on that and then I go start on my work. And Chris has already started on his work like hours before. And yeah, we have our list of things that we have to get accomplished that day. And usually Um, keeping the house up was on the bottom of the list, and I would have to take, a whole week off of work so I could just spend that time cleaning. And now I have the energy to get things done in the morning with my kids. So, yeah, my house is a lot cleaner. I feel better about it as well. Like I would never say that I was like a really depressed type of person, but my mental state is a lot better. I never realized, like, I didn't feel like I was depressed at all. But how I am now, I was probably a little bit depressed. My anxiety is pretty much gone. I had a lot of anxiety that I didn't even realize was there. I just thought it was normal to feel that way, and it's gone. Like there was just so much stuff that, you worry about in the back of your mind and different things, and that all those little nagging voices and worrying, it's gone.
So how are you eating day to day? Like, how many times? And what are the meals made up of?
Okay. I usually eat 2 meals a day, sometimes just 1. Um, I'm not hungry in the morning, so I'll have coffee with my husband in the morning. We like to go sit on the porch and drink coffee. And if he's hungry, I'll make him some eggs, and the kids get eggs and bacon. But I usually don't eat till around 1. Um, and I'll do hamburger or a steak, and then probably eat around 6 or 7 at night, and again, it's just hamburger or a steak, um, lots of butter, put some salt on there. When we first started, I was eating more. I did, whole milk yogurt, and cottage cheese, a lot of that. I just don't wanna eat that anymore, so I don't eat it. I don't eat much chicken anymore. My kids like the chicken, um, but it doesn't sound good to me, so I just don't eat it anymore.
The feeling of satiety is just constant, right? You don't have those ups and downs and terrible spikes that you probably experienced before.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Yeah. There were times I remember waking up so hungry. Like if I didn't eat right before bed, I wake up in the morning and I'm just so hungry. So you got to make breakfast right away. And usually that's, cereal or pancakes or something like that, or a fruit smoothie. And then you have to have a snack in the morning after that. So you're eating 2 hours later. And then by noon, you're really hungry. So it's time for a sandwich, and then you have a snack 2 hours after that, so it's like every 2 hours you're eating and you're constantly in the kitchen trying to figure out what you're going to eat and what's your next meal, and your grocery budget has gone down. Going to the grocery store is so much easier. I go through my cupboards and I don't want a snack. There's nothing that I want to snack on. I'm completely fine just drinking water or electrolytes throughout the day. Um, and yeah, it's mainly just meat and butter. And we do some cheese. I think my kids eat more cheese than I do just because it's not something that seems appetizing to me all the time. And it's become a lot easier to kind of listen to what my body wants. And so some days I want a steak and I'll just have a couple steaks that day. And other times I just want a bowl of ground beef, which sounds kind of weird. Like you're just eating ground beef, yeah, with lots of butter and some salt, and it's delicious. So, yeah, that's how we eat, and it's
Yeah.
it's just amazing.
And do you get any feedback on this from family and friends?
We haven't talked too much to our friends about it. I've talked to some of my family. I have a couple sisters that are dealing with arthritis, and one of them started carnivore, I think about a month and a half ago, and the other one started a couple weeks ago. So we're just really hoping that it helps with their arthritis. And there's like in my family, there's a ton of autoimmune disease. So I'm trying really hard not to be preachy, but also kind of bring up into conversation casually, like, hey, this is what I've noticed and I feel great. So, yeah, you could tell when people want to listen and when they're just being polite. So when I talk to someone about what we're doing and they're just like, yeah, okay, I know they don't really want to hear it, and that's okay. If they see my results and see how we're feeling, they'll start asking questions and we can tell them what we're doing. But yeah, I get half our think we're a little insane with our diet. Just like, how can you eat just that? That's crazy. And the other half are intrigued and are willing to listen.
Mm.
Yeah.
So, th- a common feedback point or criticism that many non-carnivore people would say is that it's a very restrictive diet. How would you answer that?
Yeah, I think it's a very restrictive diet. That is one of the reasons why I stopped after 3 days last year and why I had a hard time convincing myself to do it again. Because I love fruit. Vegetables, there are some that I really like, and I love bread. Um, but after I've been on it for 4 months, again, there's just no desire for the fruit or for the vegetables or for the bread. Um, but Chris and I have talked about like this has to be a lifestyle, so it needs to be sustainable. So that means um, we're okay eating some fruit or vegetables every once in a while. Especially if we're going over to somebody's house for dinner or on the road or anything like that. So we're not extremely strict where, no, I can't have that. Um, it's just more of, no, I don't really want that. That's okay. Thanks anyway. You know, um, but there's quite a few people who do this as an elimination diet, and I think that's a great way to start. So if you're going to do it, I would do it as an elimination diet for 30 days and then start adding foods back in, see how you feel.
And yeah, it's a great way to work out what foods are not agreeing with you, right?
Yeah, yeah, I think it's fantastic. And I see uh, a lot of people who are on carnivore, it doesn't seem to be a strict diet mentality where you get, if you're in a different diet, like, oh, I can have these foods, but I can't have these foods. Um, it seems to be more people treat it like an elimination diet. Like, I feel great on this, and this is what I'm going to continue eating while I feel great. And then maybe I'll add something back in and see how I feel. And if I don't feel great with that, then I'll take it out. So I think that's really neat.
At this stage, do you feel like this is it for you? Carnivore for life?
Yeah, yeah, I do. And I would have not said that when I first said I wanted to start carnivore. It was just going to be for 2 weeks. And I was, counting down the days. And then after a week, I stopped counting down the days and said, let's do this for another couple weeks. And yeah, for the foreseeable future, I'm completely fine eating this way. Um, I feel so much better. It's amazing. It's amazing. There are things that I didn't even know that were wrong that are gone. Aches and pains that you've always lived with because, you know, you haven't lived any other way and they go away. And it's just a new way of living. It's fantastic.
So, Carrie, is there a way that people can reach out to you? Do you have any social media or a website or anything like that?
Yeah, it's our business Instagram and Facebook. It's Chris and Carrie's. Um, and it's Chris, the letter Carries. And yeah, you can contact us through there. We would love to talk to you guys. anyone who needs help with carnivore, just to support anybody.
Nice. I'll link to your socials in the show notes. Thank you so
Awesome.
much for coming on and sharing your story, Carrie. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you very much for having me. This has been great.